My beloved child, pause for just a moment and breathe slowly because you are not here by accident and this message did not reach you randomly. The very second you opened it, something shifted beyond what your eyes can see and your spirit recognized it before your mind could question it. Heaven stirred and Archangel Michael stepped closer, not in fear but in authority and protection, guiding these words directly toward your heart. That quiet pull you felt was not imagination, it was alignment. Because a blessing that has carried your name for a long time is finally moving into motion, and heaven chose this exact moment to reach you. Not early, not late, but precisely now. Understand this clearly: what is unfolding is not ordinary encouragement, it is divine timing. A recalibration of your destiny. Something that was delayed for reasons you could not understand is now being released because your heart is finally ready to carry it without fear. You were never forgotten, even in the nights when you felt invisible. Every silent prayer mattered. Every tear you wiped away alone was seen. Every time you chose kindness while carrying disappointment was recorded, and today that record is being answered. Archangel Michael says the struggle you endured was never meant to define you, it was meant to prepare you. What felt like being overlooked was actually protection. What felt like delay was alignment, because what is assigned to you does not follow human logic and could not arrive until your spirit reached this frequency. There is urgency in this moment, not to scare you but to awaken you. When heaven opens a window, it does so briefly and precisely. Your attention now matters because your spirit is open and receptive. This is the state where miracles move without resistance. There is a reason you kept listening, a reason you did not scroll away, a reason your heart feels stirred. Your season of lack was reviewed and rejected by heaven itself. And what is coming is not just recovery but replacement, not just return but elevation. What you lost will not come back the same, it will come back transformed. You may wonder why you were chosen, and the answer is simple and sacred. Not because you were perfect or the strongest, but because you endured without becoming bitter. You carried disappointment without losing compassion. You stayed sincere in a world that gave you reasons to harden. Heaven chooses hearts that can hold abundance without losing humility, and you are one of them. Archangel Michael stands beside your path now, clearing what you cannot see, silencing doubts that followed you for years, breaking the belief that you must suffer to deserve good things. That belief just lost its power. This blessing carries a condition not of fear but of openness, because a closed heart cannot receive what is arriving, and your heart is opening right now. You can feel it. Something inside you is softening, trusting, allowing. This moment connects to a day you remember well, a low point, a breaking point, a moment when you whispered into the dark, wondering if anyone heard you. Heaven heard and marked that day not as failure but as the beginning of divine compensation. Your lowest moment became the foundation of your breakthrough. The shift happening now is real, even if the symbol is unseen. Your destiny is being rewritten. Old cycles are closing, generational patterns of struggle are ending with you. You are the turning point, whether you realize it yet or not. Over the next days, signs will appear gently but clearly. First, a deep, unexplainable peace will wash over you as a weight lifts from your chest. Then a door will open without effort, a message, an opportunity, a realization that feels guided and natural. And then a sign connected to provision, a confirmation that movement has begun. Not coincidence but alignment. Archangel Michael says what is assigned to you is not for a moment but for a season, a long chapter of stability, restoration, respect and divine favor. Heaven is not elevating you to isolate you but to demonstrate what quiet faith produces. Your life will become proof that endurance is not wasted. You were chosen long before you understood why life felt heavier for you than for others. Your sensitivity was capacity, not weakness. Pressure trained you to hold greater responsibility. And now hear this clearly: what is coming will not overwhelm you because you are ready. Your spirit has matured, your fear has loosened its grip, and your identity is shifting. This is why the timing could not wait another day. Archangel Michael remains beside you, steady and protective, as the transfer begins intentionally and wisely. And what unfolds next will confirm what your spirit already knows. Your story has changed. Stay present, stay grounded, stay open. You are supported, you are protected, and this chapter will not look like the last. My beloved child, as you continue listening, understand that something deeper is unfolding within you right now. Not because of the words themselves but because your spirit has stepped into agreement with what heaven has been preparing. This moment marks a crossing point, a quiet but powerful transition where your old limitations no longer have authority over your future. Archangel Michael remains beside you, steady and unwavering, not rushing you but guiding you forward with precision. He says the reason this revelation continues is because your soul is strong enough now to understand what is coming without fear. For a long time you lived under invisible ceilings, unseen restrictions that made you question why progress felt harder for you than for others. But those ceilings were never permanent. They were temporary boundaries placed for protection until your inner foundation was strong enough to support elevation. Heaven never withholds to punish, it withholds to prepare, and preparation has been your hidden journey. There were seasons when nothing seemed to move, when answers felt distant and effort felt unrewarded, yet even in those still moments something essential was being built inside you. Patience without resentment, faith without proof, strength without applause. These qualities cannot be taught quickly and cannot be given lightly. That is why your process was longer. Not because you were behind but because you were being trusted with more. Archangel Michael says many people ask heaven for abundance but few are ready to carry it without losing themselves. You were shaped to receive without arrogance and to rise without forgetting compassion. This is why the transfer approaching your life is orderly and intentional, not chaotic, not overwhelming, but stable and sustaining. You may feel waves of emotion as this truth settles, moments of relief mixed with disbelief, but that is normal when old identities dissolve. You are releasing the version of you that survived and stepping into the version that builds, leads, and restores. Heaven is not only changing what you have but how you see yourself, because true abundance begins with identity alignment. If you see yourself as unworthy, you will resist what is meant for you. But that resistance is dissolving now. Archangel Michael says the chains that held your destiny were not physical, they were agreements you unknowingly carried, agreements with lack, with delay, with believing that struggle was your role. Those agreements are being revoked, cancelled, and replaced with new ones written in light, agreements of favor, provision, and right timing. And as these new agreements activate, you may notice subtle changes in how you think, how you react, how you respond to opportunities. Fear will no longer speak as loudly, hesitation will no longer feel justified. You will sense a quiet confidence growing that does not need validation. This confidence is not pride, it is clarity, clarity that your life is no longer circling the same lessons, clarity that certain doors will not reopen because you have outgrown them. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that loss played a role in your becoming, not to wound you but to detach you from what could not go with you. Every ending you mourn was making space for a beginning that required room, and now that space exists, heaven is filling it deliberately, step by step, opportunity by opportunity. You may notice that what arrives next will feel aligned rather than forced, conversations will flow differently, decisions will feel lighter, resistance will fade where it once dominated. This is how divine movement feels, not loud but undeniable, not rushed but steady. You are not late, you are on time, exactly on time. Archangel Michael says comparison will lose its grip on you, because when you recognize your own assignment you stop measuring it against someone else's timeline. Your path was never meant to mirror another, it was meant to complete something unique, and now that uniqueness is becoming visible. Do not rush the unfolding, allow it, trust it, remain grounded. Abundance multiplies best in a calm environment, panic repels what peace attracts, and peace is becoming your new baseline. As this chapter continues, you may feel guided to release habits, relationships, or beliefs that no longer resonate. This is not loss, it is alignment. What cannot grow with you cannot stay with you, and heaven will not ask you to carry what will slow you down. Archangel Michael assures you that you are not walking this alone. Guidance will come in subtle ways, a thought that feels wiser than your usual thinking, a pause that saves you from unnecessary trouble, a redirection that initially feels inconvenient but later reveals its protection. These are signs of active guardianship, signs that heaven is invested in your next steps. The abundance being introduced into your life is not fragile. It does not require constant fear to maintain it. It requires stewardship, wisdom, and balance, qualities you already possess because hardship taught you responsibility early. Now those lessons will serve you instead of weigh you down. You are entering a season where effort will finally meet outcome, where seeds planted long ago begin to surface, not all at once but consistently, and consistency will be your confirmation. Archangel Michael says do not underestimate small beginnings. Heaven often starts quietly to protect what is growing. Loud beginnings attract unnecessary interference, but steady growth builds unshakable foundations. Your role now is simple: remain open, remain grateful, remain attentive, not anxious. Gratitude keeps your channel clear, attention keeps you aligned, anxiety pulls you back into old timelines that no longer belong to you. You have permission to expect good things without guilt, to receive without apology, to grow without explaining yourself. This is not selfish, it is obedience to the version of you heaven prepared. As this part of the message comes to rest within you, allow yourself to feel hope without guarding against disappointment. This time is different because you are different. Your awareness has expanded, your faith has matured, and your heart has softened instead of hardened. Archangel Michael stands firm beside you, confirming that what has begun will continue, what has opened will not close, and what has shifted will not reverse. Your story is no longer defined by what you survived but by what you are building, and as you move forward, remember this truth: you are not chasing blessings anymore, they are aligning with you. Drawn by the frequency you now carry, stay present, stay receptive, stay steady, because the path ahead is supported, protected, and guided, and this unfolding will reveal itself step by step exactly as heaven intends. My beloved child, as this revelation continues, allow yourself to remain still inside because the movement happening now is subtle but permanent. This is not a passing feeling or temporary encouragement, it is a restructuring of your inner world that will reflect outward in ways you cannot yet fully predict. Archangel Michael remains present not as a distant messenger but as an active guardian, ensuring that what has begun within you is not interrupted by old doubts or familiar fears. He says the reason this phase feels quieter is because stability is being established. Loud change excites the mind, but quiet change transforms the foundation. For years your life demanded survival mode, constant alertness, emotional guarding, and readiness for disappointment, but survival is no longer your assignment, building is, and building requires a different pace, a different posture, a different trust. You may notice that situations that once triggered anxiety now feel easier to navigate, reactions that once felt automatic are slowing, giving you space to choose differently. This is not coincidence, it is evidence that your nervous system is learning safety. Heaven is teaching your body and spirit that struggle is no longer required to stay protected. Archangel Michael says many blessings were delayed not because you lacked faith but because your system was trained by pain to expect loss. An abundance cannot settle where loss is anticipated, but now something important has changed. You are beginning to believe that good things can remain, that progress does not always collapse, that joy does not always demand payment later. This belief is essential because it becomes the container that holds what is coming. Understand this clearly: heaven does not pour new wine into fragile vessels, it strengthens the vessel first, and that strengthening has been your recent journey even when you did not recognize it as such. You may look back and realize that certain disappointments saved you, certain rejections redirected you, certain delays refined you. Those moments were not detours, they were calibrations, aligning you with outcomes that would not have been possible earlier. Archangel Michael now speaks of alignment as the central theme of this chapter. Alignment between your thoughts and your worth, alignment between your actions and your future, alignment between what you tolerate and what you deserve. As this alignment deepens, you may feel less willing to accept environments that drain you, conversations that diminish you, or patterns that keep you small. This is not arrogance, it is discernment. Discernment is the ability to recognize what supports your calling and what distracts from it. Heaven sharpens discernment before expansion to prevent unnecessary loss. You are being taught when to say yes and when to walk away without guilt. This skill will protect your growth more than effort ever could. Archangel Michael reminds you that effort without direction leads to exhaustion, but effort aligned with purpose produces momentum, and momentum is beginning to form now. You may not yet see dramatic results, but you will sense traction, subtle forward movement where there was once stagnation. This is how